In the last 2-minute Java lesson, we talked about making a class, and we made the simplest class possible with simply just a few member variables that were public and also a constructor or two. In this lesson, we're going to talk about why you shouldn't make those member variables public, why you should protect them. Building upon the previous example of a grocery list, we're going to show you why public with the variables is not necessarily the way to go. You see, when you have public variables, you can't control who sets the values. You also can't verify that the data is valid as somebody enters it. And then maintaining the code can be more complex, although I'll leave that particular point to the book to allow you to explain. One thing that you will notice is that once you make variables private, you can't use the dot notation directly. So we have a way around that. When you don't have public access to the member variables, we instead have to have a way to access them. So what we do is we develop methods that are public to get at the variable or to set the variable. These are traditionally called set, whatever your variable name is, and get, whatever your variable name is, and they're collectively called the setter and getter methods. They're also called the mutator and accessor methods. If you looked at just setting the name and getting the name, it might seem like a trivial example. But now look at getting and setting the price. You wouldn't want to have somebody put in a negative price for a grocery item. That wouldn't work, so some rudimentary checking is in place in this particular setter method. Because we've incorporated some basic error checking to the setter method, setPrice, also called a mutator, because we've incorporated that basic error checking, we want to change the program and add a test case to test the program. The very last test case is going to set a negative price and see what happens. We always want a test case that tests for the error condition. So in this case, I've entered a rice price and a cereal price and also a jam price. But when I attempted to enter the jam price, I entered a negative number. As you can see in the output in this screen, you can see that jam prints out a 0 price instead of a negative price, which means the program worked. In the next videos, we'll talk about UML, which is the language, Unified Modeling Language, which you diagram classes and show what the content of a class should be. Basically, many students are used to flowcharts, but UML is a much more professional way of recording the information about a class. In addition to that, we'll talk about inheritance and polymorphism.